Hello and welcome to Infamous, the audio podcast. This is Brandon, or Mulus on Discord.
This is Parker, go by One Who Parks on Discord.
Welcome back for another riveting episode of Infamous. As always, links in the show notes. And hopefully you enjoyed last week's Christmas episode that we recorded at like 1:30 in the morning on Christmas. Hopefully you guys didn't mind that wasn't too Marvel focused. The holidays have been pretty brutal on our freeze time schedule. As you can see, it's just me and Parker again this week.
Mm-hmm.
But hopefully you guys enjoy the content we are putting out. We will get back to more Marvel Crisis Protocol focused content probably next week, once everyone's back in town. So for starters, no news, right? No news.
No news. It's December, January.
News.
It's
the
great
January.
It's the great dead air time to be a miniatures gamer. Almost nothing going on.
Yup. So cool. So currently playing, I'll just go into something I've been doing lately. I've talked a little bit about my my Team Red Dragons list. It's the Red Skull Cabal, which is both Red Skull 1 and 3. And then I've got Mephisto, who is red. And then I've also got Dracula, who's also red. And then I've got Bo Sabretooth, Mordo, Bob, a couple other, Zemo, some really famous Cabal usuals. And it's been super fun. It's nice and hyper aggressive. In the 3 games that I played, because I just haven't been able to play a lot lately with the holidays and everything. I will say I was very surprised that Red Skull 1 feels like a much better leader for the list. I played Red Skull 3 in I think it was 2 games, and he was fine, but he wasn't like actively contributing. Scalpel's so expensive, and the models you have, because you're doing very expensive 5-pointers, they really want to use their power, and so he doesn't want to pull power off of them really, especially like Mephisto, and then Dracula even less so, honestly sometimes. Because he if he doesn't have power, he feels not nearly as good. Mephisto can make do with no power, it's just you don't want to. But also on top of that, the synergy of Red Skull 1 with both Dracula and Mephisto is really interesting because they both have like non-spender attacks. They're also non-builders because you've got it is technically a spender for Dracula, but he does the blood drain, which auto bleeds, and so it costs 1 to use. But then if you're like, well, I'm playing Red Skull 1, and it's like a 6 dice attack or something like that, it's like, well, it's pretty likely it's going to do damage, so it's really a free attack. And I heal and you bleed. And you're like, well, that's really good. Yeah. And it's not draining him, so just every turn, he always has power to either use his movement ability or to do his attack back, or both. And it doesn't matter that, like, you're not nearly as worried about his builder attacks. Because you're like, oh, I did 0 on a builder. It's like, who fucking cares? I'm going to get a power every time someone attacks anybody, because I'm just going to attack them back. Because Mephisto is going to make me the target. And so I was able to just funnel probably 25 hit points through Dracula over the course of a game. Because he's attacking back every time you attack Mephisto or him. And then he's also activating on his turn, healing 2, moving along, and hitting you. And it's like, God, it costs him like no power to do all this. And it's just like, oh my God, he's just going to keep going forever. And he's getting hit as well, so he's gaining power off the damage. And I think he only made like 3 or 4 strike attacks the entire game. And I think I did a grand total of 2 damage with them. Like, he kept bricking them. It was really funny, because I was making a joke. It was like, because I had Zemo in one of the games. It's like, cool, here's 7 dice with a reroll. Boom, 0 hits. I'm like, awesome, your turn. And the next turn, I think I even dark rained the guy, and I re-rolled into him, and I did like 1 damage. I'm like, what the fuck is this bullshit? And then he died like immediately after.
So his Ancestral Blade, the 7 dice, just didn't do anything.
Yeah, 7 dice with a reroll or Dark Rain one time. It did I'm just cursed. It has nothing to do with the mechanics. I'm just cursed. I get it. Like, I understand why it happened. It was just funny. Like, I wasn't even mad about it. I was just like, come on, buddy. Like, we need you to be the Vampire Lord, not the fucking Scrum. Like, come on. But also, specifically with Mephisto, it just accelerates his clock to an almost silly degree, because you'll start off. It's almost impossible to stop him from getting his first turn play, because you can just Red Skull place him, and so even if you've got like a Toad or something, or it's like Scrolls, where it's offset off the center, it doesn't even matter, because he's getting there anyway. So he's going to do 1 move, superpower, place, do the free attack. But now it's basically a gainer if he does damage, which he almost always does because it's 6 dice Mystic.
Yeah, the fact that turning that into gainers feels
right.
great.
And so it's like, so he lands. Now he has a power and 2 tokens, and then you second action do it again. Now he's got 2 power and 3 tokens. You go into the next turn. He powers up for 4. You have 6 power and 3 tokens. And you're like, well, now what? And he's like, well, I guess we're going to Omega Beam. And you're like, oh, shit. And then the Omega Beam hits 3 people. And you're like, you gain 3 more power. And you just immediately use the superpower and do it again. And if you can hit like 4 people, you can just double beam on top of 2.
Yeah.
Double beam. And then for the rest of the round, I'm going to activate Mephisto again is online, because not only did you get to do that and he's already activated, but I'm already losing prio if I killed like 2 people, so I don't even care if I activate again.
Right.
And then, so you're playing it on like every time you do something, and they really have to think about it, because if you get to 5 tokens, you're going to kill them. Because you're going to go next turn, they're not going to be able to kill Mephisto because you'll have 5 tokens, and you'll just super Omega Beam again.
Well,
and so
that's right, because the card is giving them the 5 tokens.
Yeah, it's giving you a second activation. But then they do all that, and then you just Cosmic Invigorate them anyway. You're just like, fuck you, buddy.
Yeah.
By the way, fuck you, buddy. And so it's very fun.
And
the amount of power
and then the whole time Dracula is just extra health for him and extra.
Yeah, and then Dracula's just doing his thing, right? And then you can obviously just choose to not sack if you're like, oh, I'm not actually afraid of this random attack.
Mm-hmm.
Or another thing you can do is like a lot of people don't think about it is if you have like rapid fire attacks and you're just trying to be really efficient, you're like, all right, I'm going to rapid fire Mephisto because I'm like exactly range 3. You're like, cool, I'm going to sack that to Dracula and then just place him out of range 3 of you, so you just lose the rapid fire attack. You're like, oh yeah, and then you go shoot me again. This time I'll place in front, and you're like, oh, it's just very funny. The thing I think is really going to be good with him is when you are pulling in somebody that's actually really hard to kill, that doesn't need a lot of power. And so the people I've talked about is like Colossus, like just keeping Colossus in taunt range the entire game is so frustrating because it's like he's so hard to kill. And he takes damage on the front side, but once he flips and he's got like 9 or 10 power, it's like you are never gonna fucking get rid of that guy again. Like he's gonna be all over your shit. And then by the time you eat through him, Mephisto's killed half your team already.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what do you do now? And then, again, you've got Red Skull can activate him again. Red Skull can reposition your break if you get put out of position. Putting him in with like Crimson Dynamo. And so you're just like, oh, you're going to attack me. Cool. Here's Crimson Dynamo. Congrats, Disruption Field. And you're like, oh my God. And it's just, what do you do to get out of it? And it's just such a darn pile of just bullshit effects. It's just really interesting. And so it's been pretty fun. But the Red Skull 3 version, while it does do a little bit more damage, I don't find that Red Skull does anything other than just be a slightly better 4-pointer. And I think the leaderships are just better, but also having Cosmic Invigoration plus a really good model to play Dark Rain for you. And so you can easily Dark Rain off of him. He can also sack to Mephisto, which is like Sleepy Synergy, because everybody forgets he has that.
Yes.
And so you're like, oh, I'm going to Hail Hydra to Mephisto. Mephisto will send it to Dracula. And you're like, great. I'm so happy about this.
Yeah.
But the whole reason I even played him in the first place is the plan A was always Red Skull 3. I only put Red Skull 1 in as kind of a joke. Because like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if you could play Red Skull? Because I love Red Skull 1. I only played him the first time because like, is Apex Predator worth it in this list? And I think we played at like 19. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we played at 18, sorry. Because it was Mephisto, Dracula, Red Skull 1, and Apex. And Apex getting infinite power was 100% A+ go. That was very fun. And he took an activation that was, I had Prio, activated Apex, and my opponent was like, are you sure? And I'm like, I'm pretty sure. And so it's like, he's going to spend to throw Crimson Dynamo, injure Mephisto. Crimson Dynamo only had 1, so he dazes. And then Mephisto bricks, takes 4 damage. And so I pounce into Mephisto, he dies. That's like, cool. And I was like, I'm going to do the Spender, because I still have 4 power. So I'm going to do the Spender into Magic over there, because he's playing New Mutants. So I go into Magic, places next to Magic, does like 3 damage, and then just kills her with the next attack.
So he doesn't have, Spender only costs 2, right?
Yeah, no, he still had plenty of power left. And so he ends with like, because he has 2 more on the builder and then gains another one. So he ends with 5 power. Yeah. He threw Spender to gain 5 power. Or ended with 5 power. So the next turn he goes to 6 if you don't damage him. Mm-hmm. And then he just, next turn he just immediately did the increased dice. And then one-shotted somebody, went back to 10 power, and then one-shotted somebody else with the next one. Because he's rolling like 9 dice at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was. I just had a great game. Like everything went my way, which was super fun. But
I feel like Apex. I need to play him because the idea of throw, attack, that's just so fucking bonkers. Like, we know it is, right? Like,
It's good. He is vulnerable to energy. He doesn't really have any defense now that they banned exceptional healing.
right.
And, excuse me, the other part is he needs to get going. Once he gets going, he's an absolute monster. But
Yeah.
I think Sabretooth 1 is actually scarier on the first rounds of the game.
Sure.
Because, just the speed long means he's engaging immediately, and there's really nothing you can do about it. Yeah.
Yeah, Apex is much more of a...
Yeah.
I would say like more like a hammer, right? He's like you can't just go swinging it willy-nilly. You're going to miss, right?
Yeah.
So, but if you... And
they definitely do different things.
Oh, yeah.
For me, the biggest issue is one's affiliated, one's not. And so that kind of makes the decision a lot. But he's only really there if you're playing Red Skull 1. The cool thing with if you are playing Red Skull 1, you can like port Sabretooth forward. And so again, if you get into like, I have Toad, it's like, I don't care. I'm still going to go walk up, attack Toad, and kill you next turn. You're like, slippery away. It's like, cool, I'll move along and kill you. Like, I don't care.
I love the idea that in one turn your brace can be used and you still get something thrown at you. Like, I love that so much.
Well, also, the card that everyone forgets about, Happy Birthday Run, is also a Victor Creed card.
Yeah.
So it has to be on his activation, or no, it doesn't have to be on his activation. You just have to use it on somebody who's activated.
Yeah.
Is the thing a lot of people forget. But it also does allow reactions, which is huge. But yeah, there's a lot of good stuff. I think Weapon X training is specifically old Sabretooth. Let me double check.
That is true. It doesn't say Victor Creed, it says Sabretooth. It also says Wolverine, which makes me upset, because that means none of the other Wolverines can use it. None of the other Logans can use it.
Yeah. But anyway, this has been a really fun list. I would like to get more games in with it. The next list I'm looking at playing after this is probably going to be the Mighty Thor Go Wide Asgardian list, just to prove a few locals wrong. Because Asgard 3 is really shit.
Yeah.
I'm like putting Valkyrie in unaffiliated lists. He's like, and he won't even play her in Asgard. Like,
Valkyrie is there's absolutely nothing wrong with her. But I think
this model that charges on the first turn and has a throw is bad.
Yeah,
like whatever. Like you have a skewed sense of
even has like dice fixing and can explode so hard. Like her she's one of those models that has like crazy high damage ceiling.
Yeah. And like with what's getting played right now, she's also really good. I mean, obviously she doesn't fit the unaffiliated with like Thanos because he's already like the big part of your unaffiliated block.
Right.
But you're like, I just play Thanos, kick in an extra 4 dice with her. So she's rolling 11 dice Dragon Fangs with Warrior of Legend, and you're like, and maybe a reroll from like a Zemo, and you're like, that's not okay. Like that's a silly amount of damage.
Yes.
And then you are hitting the flurry because of all your triggers. And you're like, I'm just gonna fucking kill 2 people.
Right.
And I have a throw, like, and I get a charge because she's so good. It's like, she is a little squishy. So is X-23. Like, grow up.
Right.
It's fine. Your models are not meant to be invincible, guys. It's okay that they have a weakness.
Yeah. But she can die so bad.
Yeah.
No, she's quite strong.
Yeah, that's me for currently playing.
For my currently playing, I have seen the top of the Xavier Mountain, and it is bald. Well, basically, after playing for Xavier for a while,
Would you say that he doesn't have legs?
Yeah, he has no legs.
No legs.
If he does have legs, they're just not very useful. And that's
no. The model actually doesn't have legs.
That's true. The model has no legs. I would say that after playing it, it's really kind of bizarre how. If Cyclops didn't exist in his current iteration, Professor X would be a really interesting model in X-Men, because one of their leaders would all be about mobility, and the other leader, him, would be all about power generation. But the math just doesn't work out with him compared to Cyclops, and it's actually pretty bad compared to Cyclops. And that's one of the reasons why I've come to find out that Professor X is just worse. And if you really want to play Professor X, you can play him and not feel completely gimped, but it doesn't, like, next to Cyclops, it's not even that the floor is better for Professor X, because neither the floor nor the ceiling are as good. This is basically what I figured out. Professor X, if you are playing the absolute optimum list where all the models in your list have a an active power and a reactionary power that you could expect to happen often, then each model, each round is making, +2 power. That sounds fine until you realize that every character,
the models that do that,
yeah, you have to very restricted, and so you're really like forced to play one way with this very certain group of models to make that happen. And then and it's possible that your opponent just doesn't give you your reactive triggers, right? So all you're getting is +1 power from each model that you took each round, which again, not bad, but when you compare it to Cyclops, who is doing the same thing with any models, because any model in the game can shoot twice, right? And then
probably.
And then also, if you add any of the other models that attack extra times with things like a beam or a rapid fire or berserk, all of these things, including Cyclops, have them. Cyclops himself has that ability to attack multiple times. So
I would like to jump in here.
Go ahead.
If you don't mind. I think the real difficulty with Xavier, which is kind of what you're implying here, is that it's really hard to build a list that takes advantage of the leadership, because without it, he's not worth 5 points. I think that's the argument, right? Like, if he was just an amazing 5-pointer. Oh, he's at 4 point, right? So he's not really worth 4 points.
Yeah,
it doesn't feel like it anyway.
No.
And so if he was just worth his weight anyway, that's great. But then you're like wasting his leadership. So you should just play a different leadership and still have him in. It's fine. Mm-hmm. But you need to take advantage of his leadership in a meaningful way. Also, not just trigger it to gain power, but then have an outlet for said power. Because a lot of the models that have like the actives and the reactives, and enough of them are affiliated, and they're the right point totals to make everything work. Do those models, like Wong is a great example for someone who triggers it because he's got the active ability and it's an early turn 1 and he can hand out power. But then it's also like, but what is Wong doing when he has 8 power? Like, it's completely fucking wasted.
Yeah.
And it's like, what is he going to do? Hand out power? You already have fucking power. We just went over this. Yeah. And so it's like you have to simultaneously create the power and then harvest it. And it's hard to do both in the same list, while also, like, you could build that collection of models. That's not impossible. But then you also have to play a scenario and fight enemies. Mm-hmm. And so it's doing all 4 of those things is hard. And having all of those models that you need at that individual game in the same roster, again, hard. And so it's finding that perfect knife edge of all of those things. And then also you'll get a matchup where you're like, I need Prio here. And so it completely changes the dynamic of how the whole list works. Because if I'm combining these 2 models, I need them to both spend and create power in the same levels of the 2 models I already had. It's just so much to ask out of like a machine, because like the machine works.
Right.
It's just getting it to be as efficient as you need it to be. Because if you lean too hard on the creation, you suffer on the back end. If you lean too hard on the back end of spending power, you can't create enough to use it. So it obviously puts you in a weird spot.
I honestly think there is one reason why one way that Professor X is superior to Cyclops. If you're like, I want to play X-Men and generate power, well, I think you should play Cyclops every time. Mm-hmm. Unless you were specifically trying to play like a really passive list and you weren't planning on attacking, like a scenario-focused list. And then I would say, well, good luck making an uncanny X-Men affiliated list that feels better than any of the other primary scenario factions, right? Mm-hmm. But if you were convinced that you wanted to do this with uncanny X-Men, Professor X will do that really well because he generates passive power, right? So that's one of the things that is good. Like, imagine if Miles had Professor X's ability. It would feel fucking broken as shit, right? Because he would get to do...
I actually disagree.
Oh, I think it'd be
amazing. I think Miles wants his leadership. But it's close. I don't think it's worthless. Like, it'd be a good ability. The problem you have is, like, there's that Web Warriors brick, like, that list of options they have is so perfect already. Right. It's like, you've got, like, 4 amazing 3-pointers. One of which is your fucking leader. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like, you're just not going to break into that thing. You'd have to hit multiple models before they even care.
Right.
Like, it's such a tight group of efficient models.
So it feels... So unless people, listeners out there who are like, I really want to play on a Uncanny X-Men scenario focus, like, well, Professor X will give you the best.
So does Storm.
Yeah. So Storm does as
so
good.
Does Storm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like
Storm was the scenario list for a long time. She was so good at it.
Yeah.
Obviously they nerfed her, but she's still good.
I think that But if you're like, I want to kill stuff, well, I mean, Cyclops, I think, feels really good. So that's what I learned. And currently, so that means what I'm currently playing right now is just kind of amorphous. We're also in the doldrums of, no cons
Quiet
coming up
times.
immediately. Yeah. Except for LVO, kind of. But LVO feels more like a big end of the tournament kind of. It's really the start of the con
LVO's
season.
the capstone, yeah.
Yeah. I
And
don't know.
then AdeptCon fires it off again.
Right.
Yeah,
So
we're in the closing days, and then it's going to be basically the dark times, and then we're going to come back to the light on the back end.
But also, oftentimes, they drop in, new models, and they usually like put new rules out around LVO, right? Because like you
Isn't
said,
it
it's the capstone.
right after January? Isn't there like the second announcement, which
Yeah.
is because in the past we've gotten our dynamic updates in January, and
Right.
then
So I feel like we usually see a lot of dynamicism happen then. So right now we're in the really quiet periods where everything is really tepid, and so I'm usually using that to figure out, like, instead of thinking about really highly competitive lists, I'm trying to feel out things I've never put on the board before. And we had a conversation last week about Gwenum, because it's like a model I've never seen before. But we all agree is strong, and yet no one ever sees her. And so that's kind of what I'm
there's
staring
strong
at right
and
now.
there's strong and contributes to winning, right? Like the same
Yeah.
thing with Professor X. Like he's a strong model, he does a lot of good stuff. Does he directly contribute to winning? And you're like, probably not. Like you already have a bunch of mediums in faction if that's what you needed. You already have blasters in faction if that's what you needed. You already have like support models in faction if that's what you needed.
Yeah.
You even already had power generating leaders for 4 points in faction. Like,
Yeah.
like does he really move the needle? No, he's just a silly model. Like they just gave him everything to try and make I think having him in the game is really insulting to the game. I don't know. He just bothers me. Like, why is a paraplegic pacifist engaging in a skirmish combat? Like that just doesn't make sense.
Because he's got to get out there and protect his children or whatever.
Does he? Is that what he does on the battlefield, or does he try and mind rape people? I think
maybe
the
that
second
too.
one, yeah. Because every time in the comics he's ever just mental blasted and killed somebody, and you're like, yeah, that happens, right?
Yeah. So let me talk about an affiliation that is all about skirmish combat, and I'm just waiting very patiently for the painter to get my model back, as I really want Maverick, because I want to play Weapons Stash, Maverick's Weapon X card that gives them a little token.
Yeah.
And I'm sure somebody's explored this. Maybe you can tell me it's bad. I don't care. I have never once done this to people, but I've had it done to me, and it feels terrible. So I'd like to do it to others. Which is, I want to play Thanos with cover, and I just want to do it. I feel like Thanos with cover. Really insert your big model that you want to give cover to, but I feel like Thanos with Reality Gem is the gold standard, right? Just put Maverick and Thanos and Laura and insert other, Weapon X models to taste, and just have them stand in the middle on the weapon stash and block 3
what I'm gonna do?
For the whole game.
You know what I'm going to do?
What's that?
I'm going to play Sin and Crossbones.
Oh,
and
yeah?
Ash and Cinder. I'm going to put an Ash and Cinder token on top of your ammo stash. I'm going to blow that shit up right all over your fucking people.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, take stun and damage 2 on everybody.
Yeah, do that.
I'm doing it. And then I'm going to shoot you with Bob.
It's
going to be fucking sick.
Shout out to one of our listeners, Jake. He called me the other day and wanted to do some list talk about Apocalypse. And I told him about this Thanos tech that I was thinking about with Weapon Stash, and I actually said Apocalypse with that would also be funny. Because specifically in Weapon X, there's tons of exactly bleed. Like, bleed is everywhere. Yeah. And so what if Apocalypse was standing in the middle of your list with cover and his heal effects, and he was constantly turning bleed into other shit, like shock and slow or incinerate? Yeah. That just sounded funny. Again, I don't know if it's good or bad.
I think the effect is good. Again, getting back to doesn't contribute to winning.
Right.
The question is just, can you force it to be relevant by not losing on scenario, or rather even winning on scenario? You can force people into you. Like, let's say you get an extract lead, or for whatever you're playing, like demons or gamma, and you're like, I'm just gonna hunker down on the middle blue, and you have to come to me. It's like, yeah, that's gonna be a fucking problem. Mm-hmm. But you're already piling a bunch of models in one spot. It's pretty hard to contest scenario. So it's just rough.
Yeah, I will we'll see how it goes. Also, this could be fun for a week, and then they do the dynamic update, not the dynamic update, but the mission update, and then there's not enough
The Way
missions
of
that can really,
Kings.
yeah, there's not enough missions that can even take advantage of like a central location that you want to drop the weapon stash on. So we'll
That's
see.
definitely what we need in the scenario packet. Less central board focus.
Yeah.
That's what we need. Oh
It's possible.
God.
Don't
Why
go down the
are you
rabbit
doing
hole.
this to me?
Don't go down the
Why
rabbit
are
hole.
you doing this?
I'm
I just want to
I'm
be happy.
not trying.
The meds are kicking in. I'm feeling better, and now you're going to drop this shit on me. I got a belly full of white dog shit.
So yeah, that's one of the lists that I've been waiting for patiently. But it's true in terms of like Thursday. I know we have a tournament coming up this Saturday.
So point out, Parker broke the seal first.
It's still it's still wide open. I might even go nuts and play New Mutants, and because I plan on hating Magic even more than I currently hate her. But I feel like New Mutants is actually fun, like a fun affiliation to play, because it's a big, like, your opponent's just staring at the board for 20 minutes trying to figure out what the fuck they can do without their world ending, like, because all your models are not where they actually are, and I think that's an adorable feature for a list. The problem is you have to play Magic, and I think she's actively bad. I think she's bad. And then you look at her model, you're like, she's not bad.
I don't think Magic's... Yeah, Magic's, again, another model that, like, yeah, she's got a really cool kit. Does it contribute to winning? And you're like, no.
Yeah. So you're playing, like, probably Magic and Taskmaster and...
Fuck yeah, you are.
Winter Soldier. Like, you're playing 3 threes to start, because the other models... I mean, Cable is not bad, but he doesn't really add anything to that list. The New Mutants are just... bad.
Well, you can't play 2 rogue agents anyway.
Oh, you can't? Is that a rule?
No, it only works on 1.
Oh, Jesus.
It's a unique rule. Yeah.
So I have to play another New Mutant? Oh, why are you telling me this now?
No, it's like what is it, Warlock? Warlock's good.
Yeah.
And the Sunspot's also good.
Wait, are you being...
I think he's a 4.
You're blowing,
No, 100% Sunspot is very good.
Sunspot, sure. Yeah, I thought you said Warlock.
Warlock is fine.
I don't think Warlock is good.
Warlock's fine. Here, let's look at the card. This is content.
I don't think Warlock.
Hold on, no, you're challenging me. Let's talk about it. All right, Warlock, physical defense 3, energy defense 3, mystic defense 4, 5 health on the front side. Are you done with this yet?
Yeah.
So let's see. He's got infection. He has bleeding poison on his builder. He's got a range 4 5 dice attack that's a gainer that shocks. That's good. Choose an interactive terrain feature, destroy it, remove damage from itself. That's cool. This character and enemy characters within 2 suffer poison and 2 damage, so he's got the death factor. Yeah, and he gets the extra down defense if you're not in short range. He's fine. It's not amazing. I mean, his spenders, I think, okay. Yeah, you can break a terrain to get rerolls 7 dice. He's fine. He also has a throw.
The problem is, like, X-23 is in the faction, right? So you
sure. I mean, X-23 is better. I'm not arguing that.
Yeah. At any rate, I might do it just because it sounds fun. I think it'd be really cute to play characters, and the word is cute. I don't know how good it is, but I think it'd be really fun to play things like Black Dwarf and it's funnily enough, 2 of them are Black Order, but Black Dwarf and Ebony Maw. I think both of those would be fun to drop in there, so they're constantly just showing up after you try to attack things.
I definitely don't think Black Dwarf would be good.
Oh, you don't? Black Dwarf constantly zooming across the board?
No,
in your
like,
face?
he needs power. Like, if you can't make his attack better, there's 4 points. Like, just use Shang-Chi. He's just better than Black Dwarf.
But Black Dwarf gets to jump in, and then he's got his big 6 dice, and he's in your face. How are you going to avoid him from just hitting you twice?
Shang-Chi also has big 6 dice, and is actually harder to kill by math. And heals and pushes. Yeah. 100%.
Close, I guess. Yeah.
I mean, martial artist is way better than damage reduction 1.
It's super martial artist because it's all. It's not
exactly. Yeah. Shang-Chi. But
he also likes having some power.
You're only losing 3 hit points, and you're losing damage reduction for healing on the back, which is could just negate the hit points right there. And then you're picking up super martial artists over DR1. And he's got way better everything else. Like, way better everything else.
I do not think Shang-Chi is a bad idea for it.
Mm.
I don't think it's bad, but he already has movement abilities, right? Like you want
Sure, but it's not never bad. Like you can just put him in martial artist range. You can put him in supercharge range. You can get him out of death. Like, oh look, I moved Magneto up next to your guy. He's like, oh yeah, we're getting the fuck out of here.
So there we go. That's the next one is Magneto.
Yeah.
I think Magneto is super cool.
I don't think it works. I think Magneto's too far behind the curve now. I think the new models are just too strong.
Really? If you give him that much mobility?
First off, you're not talking about like true Brotherhood Magneto. You're talking about out of faction Magneto, which is a different model because you don't get refraction,
right?
And so that's completely different. And I get you get it once. It's probably not that relevant. If you got refraction all the time, I'd be interested. But yeah, he just doesn't do enough. There's too many models that like no rerolls. Or like perfect example, Shang-Chi. How does he kill Shang-Chi without throws?
But he does. That's what Magneto does.
Yeah, if you get the line, but Shang-Chi moves, he moves Magneto, and he places off the leadership. And so if you're actually, like, anytime you're actually fighting him, Shang-Chi just stands behind something that you can't throw through, like, for example, any of your other models. So you can't have Magneto throw at him. And then he's like, cool, I charge you, I stagger you, I push you out of range, and you can't kill me. And he's like, and I'm going to brace the one fucking thing you do. You're like, cool. And you just kill him.
There's got to be some models that would be fun to use with this affiliation.
I think that's true. I'm just saying I don't think Magneto's competitive anymore. I think the game has passed him by.
At any rate, but again, nothing like really leapt out and like shook me by the shoulders and say play New Mutants, but I might go back to something old that I haven't visited in a long time because there's been a couple of new tactics cards and a couple of new models that have shaken up the affiliations a little. Shadowlands Daredevil is one of them. I think it'd be interesting to play Shadowlands Daredevil with some of the new criminals that have come out. And I loved Shadowlands Daredevil, and I'll never be upset to play him. Again, this is not like me trying to break the meta wide open because I don't think these are like super great meta reads or anything. It's just something fun to play. A-Force is another one that I wanted to try again just because I feel like there's a couple things that have changed about the game that they might do well with. But again, I never tried it because I had other new exciting things. That's where I'm at right now. Basically, I'm checking off the to-do lists of models, lists that I never got around to playing because there was always some new shiny thing. Or I was chasing down meta for the cons. We'll see.
Cool. All right, what's next, Parker?
Let's talk about the New Year's. Today is spoiler alert, New Year's Day.
Yep.
And so we're gonna talk a little bit about the year 2024 and a little bit about the year 2025. And I'm excited to find out what you think. We're just gonna talk about that year 2024 and how much we appreciated it.
Oh boy, did we!
Yeah. So first questions are all revolve around models that were released in 2024. My first one is really simple. What is your favorite model release with their rules? Like you like this model because you felt like
the mechanics,
the mechanics of this model are great. Like you really appreciate it.
Do you want me to go first? Do you want to go
first?
Yeah,
you go ahead and go first.
Okay. Mine's easy. It's definitely Dracula. I really like his whole kit. It's just those are the kinds of models I like. He's elite, but he's also not like 100% overpowering. He does all kinds of cool stuff. There's another obvious model I could have chosen, but I think Dracula's my favorite.
So you like the 5, right? Well, if you the scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being broken and 1 being useless, that's your favorite is the 5.
I think it's just the complementary mechanics of it. Like I love the flexibility of his movement power. I love people who attack back in a way that is balanced. So, like, for example, he has a range to attack back. So he has counterplay to him. I love healing as a mechanic, as long as it's not, like, really obnoxious. So I really like that he can heal himself. When I pick a model in, like, a video game, like, this is exactly the kind of, like, character I like to play. It's like I play, like, when I played City Heroes, I play, like, a regen scrapper. So I want to get in, kill a bunch of stuff, heal myself, keep fighting. I don't want to stop and have to get somebody else to help me. I want to play a self-sufficient person who can do their own thing. I don't want to be constantly relying on other people to help me. And he has one of the few kits that kind of does that. He needs to get over here, he can do that. He needs to strip negative effects, he can do that. He heal himself, he can do that in 2 different ways. He can kill people if he needs to. He can survive people if he needs to. It's kind of just like a complete package, but because of that, he's going to be, a more expensive model.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's a good choice.
In previous years, like I think Hulkbuster might have been my favorite, like 2022 model or 2021, whichever year he came out. I think he was the best design model of that year. It's such a perfect synergy in the kit. And I don't think it's overpowered. I just think it's like it was so well designed. His kit works it's so complementary.
I'm going to go for one of my favorite things when you talk about complementary, like being one of your favorite things. I really like it when a character doesn't look like it's anything super special until you put it down on the board, and then you're like, oh wow, look at all this stuff. This is really cool. And I actually felt that way about Sandman. I feel like Sandman was going to be a really like kind of bland character. Really, really not very exciting. And then actually, after putting him down the board and seeing him played, I was like, wow, look at all this cool stuff Sandman can do. Like he's a really versatile model. I thought he was going to just stand here and bop, push people away. But as it turns out, he does a bunch of really fun stuff. And so
Sandman was fun.
Yeah. He really is, and like kind of like you said, not like over the top broken, like he doesn't get to do everything in the world. But
I like playing with Electro. I don't think he's well designed. I think he's a really badly designed model because I don't know how you interact with him. Like there's so many times like, nope, you're just fucked. Like I really dislike that.
Yeah.
And you're like punished for rolling bad is like a really bad design point. It's like, oh, you attacked him and didn't kill him? Well, fuck you. Like it's like, well, what did I do wrong? Like I didn't do anything. And so
there's some models that came out this year that were definitely pushed, but I like that we both picked the models that were just
sure you were going to pick Mephisto.
Oh, I love Mephisto.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I didn't take into account his tactics cards.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're on the same page there.
I specifically am not picking tactics cards because I love his tactics cards. I love that they put all the deals in as those. I think it's super cool. I think he's an interesting model. He's cool, but his real thing is the tactics cards. But Sandman, I think Sandman as a model with his rules, just in terms of like doing minions, just really great job of making his minions feel different and fun. All right, here's my next one. What is your favorite released model from the IP? Meaning, like you were super excited that he's in the game. It doesn't, or she's in the game. It doesn't matter really what their rules are because you just want to represent it in the game, and that's why. And you just wanted them in.
And so is this is a weird question. So it's not a character I'm necessarily a fan of. I'm just happy they're in the game. So it's like that was a great pull. As opposed to, or you just say the character that they brought into the game that I'm the biggest fan of.
Yes, I would say like the one that you're really excited that they have representation in the game. And if you want to define that as you felt like they should be in the game, like they deserve that justice, or you just love them, I think that's up to you. But a model that you were just like, oh, good, they're putting this character in the game. You didn't. This is like before you saw the rules. You just knew they were coming.
Yeah, so the rules are completely separate.
Right.
We're only talking about this like IP.
Yeah, you just love that they're in the game.
So I probably would choose Dracula again.
Okay.
But just so we don't, I'm going to pick Abomination. I think Abomination, specifically the way it was done in the MCU, was really fun, even though like the original Hulk movie is kind of bad. Abomination in that like the Emil Blonsky character is like the saving grace of that Hulk movie. Yeah. Like when he walks up to Hulk, it's like, is that all you got? And he kicks him. Like that's like the best scene in the movie.
Yeah.
And like their fight's kind of okay, and they actually kind of did justice to his aesthetic in that movie. But then also like him and She-Hulk was great. I love Emil Blonsky and She-Hulk. So I would probably say of all of them they added, I'll go with Abomination, which is funny because I hate his rules.
Yeah.
I actually like his kit. I just don't think it was implemented well. I like the concept of it. It's just I don't think it landed.
Right. Mine is definitely Maverick. Because I was a huge Maverick comic fan. I have his only solo series he ever had. I have individual issues. I love like weird D characters in the Marvel universe, and I've always had a fascination with them ever since I was a little kid. And I just think he's a really fun character from in my mind. If you're like, he's so one-dimensional and not exciting or interesting, why is he in this game? I totally agree that could be possible. That could be an interpretation. But me, purposely, I have a wonderful headcanon for him. So Maverick is definitely my choice. Let's talk about this. This could be a little bit of a debate. I'm excited to find out. I do not know if we'll agree on this one. Which of the released models from this year do you think had the biggest impact on the game?
Loki 2, obviously.
You think? I disagree.
Oh yeah, like he
disagree.
caused an entire errata update restriction update.
That is true. He made an enormous splash. I'm not taking
I
away
don't
from
agree with the opinion, but
yeah.
I think that I don't even think there's an argument really. I think long term it's going to be Mephisto, but I think as of 2024 year end, I think it's 100% Loki 2. I think people are wrong. Not that they're just idiots. I just think that the evidence is flawed. Right. I think he was literally everywhere, and I don't think people had put in the reps to learn how to play against him. Not that it's overly complicated, but you just play against it differently. And I think Asgard had become a boogeyman on Researcher specifically, which is fair. I think that was a fair critique. That list was silly. Yeah. But we've had other silly lists that they never touched. They didn't touch Thanos for fucking half a decade, and but immediately they have to hit Loki 2. Sure, whatever, it's fine. But the outside of the Researcher situation, I didn't think it was that big of a deal at all. I think is so many the actual good lists don't attack you anyway. And it's if you're just going to lose the scenario teams, it's congrats, you're going to beat all the bad teams. You're going to shit stomp bad teams. You'll win against most of the middle of the pack, and you'll win against some of the middle to upper tier, and you're going to lose to all the actual good factions. You're going to lose to Thanos. You're going to lose to Webs. You're going to lose to... God, I'm drawing a blank right now on what the other one was that we saw a lot of in that time period. But I just didn't see it. I didn't think it was winning anything specific, and maybe it did well on TTS. And I just don't pay attention to that. But it just seemed like a gimmick.
I feel in terms of spike, biggest impact, in terms of amplitude, I would agree it was Loki. I agree. There's just too much in that moment. The fervor was so intense, and the groupthink was so mighty, pun intended, that it really just pushed him through the roof in terms of attention. I will think though that the greatest impact on 2024 definitely came from Namor, because I feel like Namor by himself. Really, and it wasn't super subtle, but I think it was a little bit more subtle than Loki's was, because Loki was 100%. Here's Asgard, windmill slam Asgard, but Namor was more here's a model that a lot of players are going to take, and they're really going to push this agenda of super high tempo aggressive lists, and we're going to put them everywhere. We'll just take Namor and Zemo and just put him fucking everywhere, and every list in the game will be pushed just a little bit further towards aggression rather than scenario play, and I think that was a big deal. So in terms of if you're going to graph it, Loki's got the high amplitude, right? The high Y value, but Namor's got the Y, the wide X value, right? He really moved a lot of things.
I think Kansas City is an exception, but I think you see more Loki 2 in games nationally than you'll see Namor. But I think it's close. I think in Kansas City you see way more Namor than you see Loki 2.
Yeah.
And I remember I counted that one day. It was 4 games going. We had 8 players at a scramble tournament we ran, and there was 9 Lokis and or Namors on those tables. Of 4 tables, there was 9.
Yeah.
It was just silly.
So big impacts.
Those were definitely the 2 lists for that 2-month period.
Yeah.
And like I said, I totally respect the Researcher, Thor, Bill, Loki list. That was silly. That was too much on one. It was all perfect. That I don't know how nobody play tested that, and I still don't think that what they did was warranted. I just think it was too good. But we have 2 good lists. Nobody's complaining about fucking Thanos on Researcher. I don't see how, but they're not. Right. That I think it's actually harder to win.
All right, so here's one that's not away from the model conversation for a bit. Did you have any favorite events and or tournaments from 2024 that you look back on very fondly?
No.
I have one that I'm pretty sure, and this is the reason why I'm glad you're here is I'm pretty sure this happened in 2024, but you might have to tell me it was 2023. Do you remember the tourney? The team tournament that we did, where I rolled the dice and you moved the models. Do you remember where that? It was at the Geekery. I think it was 2024.
It was. We played Aaron and
Yes.
Jason.
That's funny. Is we played other people.
I've never seen Aaron so mad at me.
I was like, that's got to be your favorite, right? Like, it's got to be.
Well, the best part is I didn't realize how mad he was because I was so into it. Like, we're playing. I get to play my favorite affiliation, Convocation, because they work really well in teams. Because all they need is a few more points. Like, literally, just need 4 more points and they work. Yeah. And they can get there, and they can't get there at like 17. They can only get there at like 20. And I can't remember what I was doing. They were playing Inhumans, and he didn't tell me until later because like we're on like turn 3, and we're just fucking giving it to him. Like it is raw. Like the game is brutal. And I was like, all right, Danger, Black Bolt, have Prio next turn. He's fucking dead. Get out of here. Like it's like left and right.
Also, we did something really mean. He was playing. Were they playing Marvel
specifically? 2? Yeah, that's what I'm getting to. And then on turn 3, he's like, all I wanted to do is fucking play Captain Marvel 2. And I go, oh, this Captain Marvel 2? Cool. I'm gonna was it Hell on Wheels and Pen and Stare? Just Pen and Stare down to 0 power and Dazer, and he's like, I fucking hate you.
Yeah,
and I was like, all right, your turn. He's like, I look up after I hit the clock, and he's just looking at me, like not looking at the board. He's looking at me, and he's like, I fucking hate you.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, it's attrition.
The point of it, was.
Did you not think we were going to choose violence? What were you thinking? I don't even remember what was in our list. I just remember it was Ghost Rider, Strange, Wong, Morno was probably there.
Yeah.
And there's some other psyker. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, we had Ancient One. That's right.
I really liked. That was a really fun event. Another fun geekery event we had. I can't remember what it was for, but we had a huge turnout for it. It was a regular tourney. It may have been a qualifier, maybe it wasn't. But I just remember we were bleeding into the next room. Like we had like 4 tables going. It's like 4 tables going in the main room, and like 6 tables going on in the other room. It was like 20 people to that tournament, and I was playing Hydra. And I just remember having a bunch of really fun like knockdown drag out games. And I just have a really fun memory of that event. And I don't know if it was
a Battle Realms tournament.
There was we did a Battle Realms tournament. I really enjoyed that, but that was not the one I played Hydra in. I played the Criminals list for that one. I really enjoyed that. Battle Realms
was that the last tournament before CGR got nerfed?
I think it may have been.
Because I remember I played CGR, I think, in that event, but I thought I played CGR. That
sounds right because Kenny's CGR just went fucking nuts, and your CGR just shat the bed hard. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Because I played Parker, and Parker played CGR, and I played CGR into Parker, and he did fuck all nothing. He didn't even trigger. I played Hydra CGR.
Yeah.
As a joke.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm just going to take CGR with Red Skull 1. And he's like, well, I'm just going to ban Red Skull 1. It's like, fucking try, bitch. And then so I first picked Red Skull, or CGR. Can you guess what he banned?
Red Skull 1?
So I didn't get to play what I wanted. So I was like, that was the joke. I have Strucker. And so I second picked Strucker. And I'm like, I got you, bitch. You're going to stagger me. I'm going to put the stagger back on you. And I'm going to get to fully activate. It's going to be great. And he got to use leadership 0 times.
Oh.
That's how good my CGR was. He didn't die. He was alive at the end of the game. He just never triggered the leadership.
Wow.
He had like 5 straight attacks and do 0 damage. I was like, okay, here we go. And it was so bad. I had 0 power, so he lost his token. And he's just not doing anything. You fucking loser. Oh, it was so funny.
Nice.
Yeah.
Those
the good old days when CGR was legal.
Yeah, those two geekery tournaments were. I do. This is not a favorite event, but it was kind of like an event, and this will go down in history. Speaking of CGR, is the time when I finally got to play against CGR, and we told Aaron all he had to do was beat me.
I think that was definitely in 23, but yes.
Oh, was that 23?
That was 100% 23 because that was before we played it at LVO.
That's
we didn't go to
right.
LVO
That's right. That was 23, so it doesn't count. So I would say in 24, I really liked Adepticon 2024 this year. That was an awesome.
Adepticon was good. I didn't really play.
Yeah, you didn't.
I was mostly recording. I still had fun. I have fun at Adepticon every year.
That's going to be. That'll go down as one of my favorite events in a long time.
I didn't go to that many events in 2024 because I was doing the printing stuff so heavily.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this next one, you already told me about it. You don't know if you could participate very much at all, but I have to talk about it. It's New Year's resolutions. I have a very clear memory of making a New Year's resolution last year in our New Year's podcast last year.
I remember what it was, by the way.
You do?
Can I point it out?
Oh, please, go ahead.
Your New Year's resolution was to not say Blade on the podcast, and you did, so that you lost.
That was not my New Year's resolution, but
But you did say Blade on the podcast.
But I did never make my resolution happen. Not once. And I thought about it. I'm not kidding you. I thought about this all year long.
Really?
And yes, I thought about it for a whole calendar year. Every time I sat down to go, what am I going to bring to the game store tonight? What am I going to bring to the tournament this weekend? I would think about this resolution, and I would always just discount it. I would go like, nah. I had to do nah, like 100 times. It was so persistent.
Was it just play the same fucking thing and quit changing your list?
No, the resolution was that 2024 was going to be the year of Shield. I was so excited to play Shield.
I told you they suck.
And I was so excited to do it. And what happened was, one of the reasons why I kept saying nah is everyone I knew who plays Shield, we have a couple locals, all of them were playing Shield in front of me, so I didn't really feel like playing Shield into Shield. Or they got done playing Shield, like, Shield sucks.
Yeah,
and they kept telling me how much Shield sucked and how I
and then Namor came out and Shield was everywhere, and you don't want to be like the 8th guy at the tournament
exactly
playing Shield. Yeah, no, I get that. That's rough.
And so
now see, the problem is you made the resolution before Namor was the thing when they sucked.
Right. If I had been playing Shield all year long and just dealing with it.
Yeah.
But at this point, I can't make a New Year's resolution around Shield, because at this point I think they're just going to stay on my shelf forever. I don't think there'll be a good occasion for me to bring it out. Now might be a good time because like it was the doldrums, but like I said, all the lists I named today that I might play soon, none of them are Shield, because man,
it's fine.
But yeah, that was my New Year's resolution last year that I never made, and so I don't have one this year. But Brandon, do you remember making a New Year's resolution last year? Did you make one?
I don't remember if I did or not. It was probably something really dumb because I don't do New Year's. I do New Year's resolutions, and I believe hit, at least reasonably hit, every one I've ever set.
Really?
But when I say something, and a lot of them are very private and personal, but when I pick something, I really pride myself on having like high willpower. It's like one year, my New Year's resolution, I remember the year, is 2016. My New Year's resolution was to not drink soda for the entire year. And I did. There was one exception. I took one drink of soda all year. I remember exactly what it was. It was the first time I ever qualified for War Machine Weekend Invitational, which was at the Nighthawk Brewery in Colorado. And they had on-tap root beer. And I love root beer. I was like, you know what? I'm going to celebrate. It's like champagne. I'm going to have one glass of root beer. And that's all I had for the entire year. I had zero soda outside that. Now, I did drink about 600 beers, so that probably wasn't great. But I did not drink soda all year.
Not soda.
It's like when I set them, I'm pretty hard on myself about sticking to them. But they're usually not stuff that's like public things. It's like more like self-betterment stuff. Like I probably said something like go to the gym more. And I did. I've actually gone back to the gym. So, but yeah, I think this year, officially, if I'm making one now, I think I'm just going to dedicate a set amount of time to paint, because I really need to paint more. And because it's not my favorite part of the hobby, I do obviously enjoy having paint models. I don't think I'm a bad painter. I just never prioritize it because I love doing everything else about the hobby more. And it's just not important to me. I would rather have gray models and play 10 games than have a painted list play it once. It's just who I am. I'm always going to be that way. Fuck you, Jeremy. I don't like you. So it's just how it is. And so, but I do want to make that effort. I've just started a hobby project that is getting going now. So I'll probably post some photos of that once it starts getting closer to done. But
one of the things that I remember in early days of MCP, and I think it takes a lot of time you probably don't have because now you have all the side ventures, but I remember there was one thing that used to get you excited to paint, and that was you were modeling. Like I know you really enjoy modeling, and like thinking of creative ways, like your dioramas, the way you did Magneto's. I
still have my Magneto diorama. It's basically fully complete. I just need to paint it, and It's it's actually almost in frame, like it's above my camera right here. If I pointed my camera up, you could see it in my closet. And it's just sat there for 2.5 years, and now I have almost no motivation to finish it because I don't think Magneto's good anymore. It kind of sucks. I probably put 30 hours into building it, and I just never got around to painting it because it was just never important as anything else.
Yeah. Well,
I'm really bad about. I'm really, really bad about. I will not have zero time. Like I will never have free time. There will never be times in my schedule that are not scheduled. I abhor a vacuum. I cannot have there be something not in a space. And it might be that I'm going to watch TV for this 3-hour block. Like but it's going to have stuff in it. And so I cannot have it be empty. And I can be casual about it. It's like, oh, I'm going to the game store on Thursday. And then whatever happens, like it's an adventure. Whatever happens there, it happens. But like, I'm not going to be like, what am I doing next Wednesday? Like, I don't know. It's like, I know exactly what I'm doing next Wednesday. It's just what fills that time is the question mark. And so I cannot like, I should just paint on Thursday. Like, I can't paint on Thursday because I go to the game store on Thursday. It's like, I can't paint on Wednesday. We record the podcast. I can't paint on Saturday. I'm going to a tournament. Like, so it's just, I could never do it. And it's like, then I felt with D&D and fucking, building models and playing games, going to cons, playing Rivals, 3D printing. And so I just never have that time. And it's never high enough in the priority list to get on the schedule.
Yeah.
And so that's why we used to do paint day. Yeah. But paint day was Wednesday, and you can't have paint day on Sunday during the football season. So as soon as we can do paint day is like March. And then by the time March comes around, it won't be a priority anymore.
Well, after Chiefs win, we can celebrate with paint day.
Yeah. So I don't know about you. It's not a New Year's resolution, but it's a fun stat for 2024. Are you excited?
Yeah, tell me.
Officially, and this has never happened in my lifetime, to my knowledge. Yeah, never happened in my lifetime. The Chiefs lost one game in the 2024 calendar. Yeah. And it wasn't a playoff game.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is, like, they've never done that, period. And then also, it wasn't a playoff game, which is insane.
That is fucking amazing.
In fact, I don't think that's ever been done by anyone. Maybe the 72 Dolphins, but with the way the calendar falls, I don't think that's true.
Right.
But yeah.
That's crazy.
It's really fun. It's a really fun stat. I told Jake that today at the game store, and I was like, Jake and Rich, I was like, hey guys, guess what? And because it was the first, and I was like, hey guys, boom, we lost one game in 2024, and he literally took a second back, and he's like, holy shit, and I'm like, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, it's such a fun stat.
And now you know why they hate us and why they want to beat us.
Because they ain't us.
Yeah, because they ain't us.
No, but yeah. No, I get it. I know. I try not to be an obnoxious Chiefs fan because I know what it's like to be around Patriots fans, right?
Right.
The other one, I don't know how to put it into words. So, because I'm not a wordsmith. I wish I was, but
okay.
I'm going to tell you something. Yeah, dude, when I type, I can put out some stuff. But I like some of my D&D writing. Anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know how to phrase this to make it as profound as it is. Okay, so in every year of Patrick Mahomes has started for a football team in the pros, he has never been eliminated from the playoffs sooner than it's like 8 minutes into overtime of the championship round. That's beyond insane. But I don't know how to phrase it to be like, it needs to be one sentence.
Right.
Like it's like just for you to understand, the soonest anybody has eliminated Patrick Mahomes from the playoffs is 1, 2, 3, 12, 13 quarters into the playoffs is the soonest he's been eliminated.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know how you equate that to anything. And it's obviously never going to last forever, right? So at some point, obviously, we're not going to end the clock. Like at the end of 60 minutes of the championship round, Patrick Mahomes has never been eliminated for the playoffs. Yeah. And you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So, and I understand, even if we don't three-peat, which, knock on wood, I hope we do. But even if we don't three-peat, I feel so blessed just to live in this time period.
Yeah.
I care so much. I care so much about the Chiefs. And I've been punished my entire life for that, and so it's so great to finally have.
I will say this,
and I get that everybody hates us.
I will say this one comment that I think is really interesting is because I've been watching a lot of NFL this year, like a lot, of the whole league. It's been really fun. This is my first year watching the entire NFL as much as I can anyway, within reason. Because the internet knows what I do. It's been sending me, different little shorts and things like this. And one of the shorts was a guy who was giving his list for, top odds for winning the championship. And he's going through all the teams from 10th. He goes up and up and up. And I noticed he
just stops it too.
He has and every single team he gives a little blurb about why. It's like based on this loss to this team, or based on their performance, or maybe the state of the quarterback, or we've never seen this kind of team in the playoffs. And so he's like giving a blurb, and he spends about 15 seconds on each team. He gets to the number one. He goes, and finally, probably the Chiefs. End of video. The video just ends.
Not even feedback. Cut to black.
Yeah, it just immediately just ends.
Get out of here.
And I'm just like, and I love that. I love it because there's no discussion. I would like to know more about what people think of the Chiefs, but they don't. They just know, right? They're just like, yeah. And also the Chiefs. We know why. Moving on.
I understand if you're not a sports fan, but there's a phenomenon right now where everyone's complaining about the refs online, and a lot of people don't get that it's flat Earth society. A lot of them are doing it sarcastically, and people don't get it. And so talking to like Chiefs fans that are drunk in the parking lot, like they're all complaining. It's like, no, it's literally a joke. You're not getting it. Like they show the clip, and you're like, that's not a penalty. Yeah, that's the joke. Is they're making fun of the fact that it's not. Like we've definitely had some good calls this year, but there's also just a lot of objectively bad calls that nobody cares about.
Right.
It's just funny. Anyway, back on topic. What is your New Year's resolution?
My New Year's resolution, and this is going to be kind of a strange one, is I'm going to be more picky about my releases this year. I have really overstepped my gaming budget. Mm-hmm. I have spent way more on games in 2024 than I meant to. And I really need to pull it back a notch. This is just kind of like a tighten your belt and
well, you did get into a second miniatures game.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Because you don't paint your own models, that is a noticeable dollar amount.
Yeah. And if I could also make it much cheaper by just never painting my own stuff and just putting the model together and playing gray matter. But I'll never go back to those days in which that was something I was cool with.
Well, how about this? Just in general, like, what about Judgment? Just don't get your Judgment stuff painted by somebody else, because there's so few models that come out for that game. Mm-hmm. We can just have paint day again starting in a few months, and you can paint one model a month.
Honestly, I would rather paint Marvel. Because
I know that you care more about Marvel,
Marvel.
But that's part of it. But the Judgment models are easier to paint because of the color palette. Like, it's so much easier to paint dark, drab tones. You're like, oh, what is this guy? He's a wood elemental. And you're like, oh, God, Parker, I think you got this one. It's like Mephisto, like the Aaron's Mephisto joke, right? He's like, I got my red, I'm ready to paint.
I can do red.
Just solid red tone. Yeah. There's so many of them. It's like, what does this guy do? He's like he's a brown bull person that wears leather. Like, that's maybe 3 browns.
Yeah.
Like, we're done.
That's possible. So maybe the New Year's resolution could be cutting down also on costs by doing some painting. I think I would be willing to do that. Okay, so we're nearing the end of this. This could be short. What is something that you're looking forward to in 2025, specifically for MCP? Do you have anything you're looking forward to?
Yes, I do. I'm very excited to get a look at the new mission pack.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I think Gladiator is a somewhat interesting character. He seems like, I like the cut of his jib. Like, I'm big into mohawks, and so it's very, very piqued interest.
Yeah,
but yeah. I have a big hope that we'll get some fighty missions back into the rotation, and maybe get rid of some of these dumbass fucking extracts.
Yeah,
let's maybe not have 38 points of extracts on the table. Let's just tone it back a little bit, guys.
Right.
And so we'll see how it goes. And it's not like you need researcher in the mix. You just need to slow it down a bit.
Right.
And I have hopes.
Absolutely. Mine is easy and obvious. If you've listened to the cast, it's 100%. It starts with an Elsa and ends with a Bloodstone. I'm really excited for Elsa. I know that's just like a release coming right now. I'm going to peak real early in 2025. Unless Fantastic Four pops up later, which there could be.
Desire to know more intensifies.
To which, 2025 could be the year of Fantastic Four. Is that when the movie comes out? I
think it's next year, but maybe. Marvel MCU.
Nope. It's scheduled for July 25th this year, 2025.
Which one? Doomsday?
Fantastic Four First Steps.
So I don't want to know. So do not tell me if you do know. And if anybody else hears this, also don't tell me. but I wonder what the plot line of that movie is. I don't know if it's out yet. Maybe if they spoiled it, if they announced the cast. Don't tell me, but like I'm just saying.
They have announced the cast.
Just don't tell me.
But I've only purposely seen that the four main characters, and we know famously the giant reveal that made huge news of.
Yeah, I still don't think he's legit Doom. I think he is a Doom in the movies.
Yeah,
Trevor Slattery, not to that level, but like they brought him back for multiple things. Like, he was in a short and he was in 2 movies. And obviously RDJ is getting paid a shit ton of money, so I think he's going to be in. It's not going to be like a passing cameo, like what's his name? Channing Tatum was it for Gambit. Like, it's not going to be that, obviously, but he's going to be in the movies. But I think that there's multiple Dooms. Like the plotline of Rivals is there's 2 Dooms. Like, it could just be one of the Dooms, or he could be an antagonist Doom or a protagonist Doom. Like, could be all kinds of stuff. Not to mention timeline shit. Like, we've already seen, like, Kangs. Like, obviously they were all played by the same guy, but, like, there's a ton of Kangs. They could have just done something like that.
So, anyway, there's a chance we can get Fantastic Four 2025. So, Elsa is all I'm going to hang my hat on, because I've been hurt too much by the Fantastic Four's absence. But if that does happen... Oh.
Not going negative or anything, but like if there was a time that the game needed some juice, I think now's a good time.
That might be a good time. It did get some juice with Apocalypse, though. A lot of people.
I don't disagree. I think I was very happy with a lot of the releases that came out later in the year.
Yeah.
I actively disliked the Shang-Chi and Namor. I think that was a really bad release, both in power level and in like want. Like, nobody wants Namor.
Yeah.
Like, and so now the fact that he's the poster child of this new play style, like the Zoomers or like the super elite fast mover people, like, I fucking hate that you want me to play Aquaman. Like, it's just so annoying. Like, how about I just don't have to play dog shit? Like, I had all these cool models, like I had Malekith on a fucking bog tiger, I had fucking CGR on a cosmic motorcycle, and like all these cool models. And yeah, they were probably overpowered, but like you're telling me, like, Malekith after 2 nerfs was so OP that he couldn't be allowed in the game and had to get dumpstered, then also release Shang-Chi and Namor? Like, fuck you. Like, come on. Let me play the cool models. Like, it's so annoying.
So
it's like half measures, guys.
Okay. Anyway.
Meanwhile, Thanos is still in the fucking game. Whatever.
You've said that 3 times in this segment.
Zemo, untouched.
I know.
Really, you guys think that's the problem?
I hope that's what I'm looking forward to the most. Is Fantastic Four would be the absolute pinnacle. Elsa's what I'm actually going to hedge my bets in. Because I'm
same thing. Doom. I mean, Doom is always number one. We're only talking about tiebreakers.
Yeah, you're right. Doom is absolutely off the charts.
Okay, how about this? You could only choose one to ever come to. Like, if you pick whichever one you pick, the other one is excluded from coming out. Fantastic Four or Doom? You choose Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I choose Fantastic Four.
Okay. What if it was just Johnny and Thing?
What?
Or Doom? Just Johnny and Thing.
It's Doom 100%.
So the Sue and Reed are in, but you have to choose between the other 2 of the 4 or Doom.
I want the 4 or Doctor Doom. Like, I don't want.
Okay, so what if you have Johnny and Sue and Reed, but then it's Thing or Doom?
I still want Doom.
You have terrible taste. I don't know how to help you.
What I mean is, I don't want 3 of the Fantastic Four. I want the 4 of them.
I don't care. You're gonna deal. Like you get one, I get one. Like, pick one.
I think we could make both happen. I don't think.
How about this? You either
happen.
Get the Fantastic Four or 4 different Doctor Dooms.
What I hope for, and I think they will do this, I will be shocked if they don't, is that they'll do Fantastic Four as an affiliation, and of course they'll come with the FF, the 4 main ones, but they'll also do the alternative Fantastic Four that they've had over the years. Like, they'll pick one of the Spider-Mans, they'll pick one of the Wolverines.
Sure, yeah. It'll be like the Inhumans, where there's affiliated people that make sense.
That have been stand-ins, like She-Hulk and Ghost Rider, and like they'll do some cool stuff. I'm excited to see some of the affiliated friends who stood in when the Fantastic Four were off doing some adventuring. But
what was it? Wasn't there like a Hulk and Wolverine like Fantastic Four team where they took over for a while? Who was the other 2?
Ghost Rider and Spider-Man.
Oh, okay, cool. All right.
But it's been several different characters have stood in for them over the years, and I'm excited.
Yeah, because you said, what are you looking forward to? We can't pick stuff that... Or is this the final bullet? Is this predictions?
Oh, so yeah, predictions. Yeah, the predictions of 2025 was more just about like what do you... Like, not so much like looking forward. Or
I think we're gonna get Madam Viper 2. Honestly, is what I think we're gonna get. So I don't know how I feel about that.
Ulick 2 finally.
Actually, Ulick 2 is don't talk shit on my troll man. He was one of the best releases that year.
He is a fun model. I'm
honestly just surprised we got a 5-point Cabal member that didn't get nerfed yet. Leave my man alone.
Oh shit!
Tell you what, honestly, my prediction is a very optimistic one. Are you ready?
What's that?
My prediction is, and I really fucking hope this is true, they're not going to target nerf something I'm playing this year, because I'm getting real tired of it. I am so over it. The last 4 years running, whatever I've loved playing the most has gotten nerfed. And I mean, obviously that's going to happen sometimes. I like playing super smashy stuff, and a lot of that stuff has been OP. But Convocation got multiple targeted nerfs, and it was specifically the brand I was playing. I'm like, no one's playing this. Come on, it's not winning anything. And here's 5 nerfs for your faction. Fuck off.
Yeah.
I just don't want something I'm excited about to get shot behind the barn or something.
Yeah. Your prediction is that won't happen to you this year, so you'll.
That's my prediction, but I've been disappointed before.
Yeah. My prediction will be that prediction. Let's see. What can I predict? My prediction is that I'm going to give a kind of an interesting one, based upon what I've seen so far, and maybe I'm wrong, and this is a terrible prediction. It probably is. I'm very, very bad at predicting, but I will say that I think timelines will go away. This will be the last year of timelines. That's my prediction for 2025. I think timelines is going to tank, and I don't hate timelines. I just think it's not going to work. I'm not trying to be negative. I swear, listeners, I'm not trying to be negative.
So I understand why you would want it to happen, because I also am not a fan of timelines. I don't think it's a big bad thing, but it does feel odd that they're pushing it so hard when it's so convoluted, and it seems unpopular, honestly. Yeah. Now, obviously, I do know a lot of people that aren't interested in it, but
my prediction is
I just feel like it requires a lot more curation than they're willing to do.
Right.
Curating the list of models that makes that format work. I just don't think that they've done that work. They're just basically saying play these things, and it's just a random assortment of things.
So
Go ahead.
I was saying my prediction is that this will be the last year for this, and I'm excited for 2026 to usher in Battle Realms 2.0, and it's just that's what I'm excited to see. I'm excited. I don't think the prediction will be Battle Realms again, but I think the prediction is this will be the last year for this. I have a feeling, because
that'd be interesting. I really don't see that happening. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, I think it will be. I think they'll bring it to a couple cons, be disappointed by its performance, and that'll be the end.
I mean, it had a pretty good turnout at Adepticon the first time. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I was there. I played in it, and when they asked me, because they came and asked me, a lot of the AMG folks came and asked me specifically, how do you feel? And I was like, I thought it was a really cool format. It was a lot of fun. I appreciated the way that they did it.
The reason we have it now.
No. The thing is, if they didn't ask me, did you think this is accessible to lots of people? Do you think lots of people?
Well, I think you gotta tell them that, because the questions are obviously going to be, do you hate this? That's. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think timelines is a bad thing. I think pushing it as the primary format is dumb, very dumb. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Did you have any other end of year questions for us?
Nope, that's it. Let's get. I'm excited for 2025. I want to play more MCP in 2025. I am very, very hopeful. That is my. I am not dour at all yet about MCP.
All right, so
excited to play some more.
Are you ready for what's next?
What 2025?
No.
Oh, in the podcast.
Yeah.
As long as it's short. I am tired.
All right. Well, we can go and sign off then.
Okay.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed our ramblings and hysterics that were mostly influenced by sick meds, but we'll get back on it. Don't worry.
Yeah,
I was really just picking up all the slack for Parker. I'm glad everybody noticed that. I was definitely not zoned out and asleep for most of the podcast.
Not even a little bit. Not even once.
Not even a little bit. Hey, my congestion's mostly gone at this point. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in. This has been Brandon.
And Parker.
And you just listened to 2025. We are in you. Got him. Fucking nailed it.
That's not what I expected something, but not that at all.
So what are we going to call this thing?
I got it. Okay. Incredible, new, fantastic, astonishing, mighty, original, uncanny, sensational podcast.
I'm just going to put down infamous.
And we did it.
Barely.
Okay, real quick. Everyone who's in the Infamous Discord channel server, go to the Infamous content and look at this week's Mojoverse, which is the anime fights one. The first reaction,
Yeah.
the meme. They're like, "Why though?" Saitama like,
Yeah.
okay. He's like, huh?
That's the first moment where it goes, my armor is broken. My unparalleled power. Okay.
It contains all of my invincible might. And he's like, okay. he responded within a minute. It's great. But the reason I bring it up, it's got the pinching fingers emoji reaction, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is it called?
I did that. That's the...
Okay, yeah, but what is it called? It's called pinched fingers.
Yeah.
Okay. I was watching a reel, and it's a Formula One reel, and it's like, you'll never guess what country the driver of the red car is from. And they're like zigzagging around the snake turns, right? And this guy in the back causes like a 4-car pileup. He clips a dude's wheel, sends that guy into somebody. They all start spinning, and they go through the corner at full speed spinning because none of them can slow down.
Mm-hmm.
And they go into the red car who's slowing down to make the turn. And he starts spinning. But you're watching the dash cam of the back car, and it's not spinning. It caused the spins.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see the red car do a full 180 while going around the corner. And when the car comes around, the guy lets go of the handle and then just does the double pinched fingers in front of his face mask. He's like, what the fuck? And it's like, man, I wonder where he's from. It's just so funny.
That's awesome.
It's like everyone in the world knows where that guy's from.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
There's also the Pete Holmes. I think it's on Colbert. And he's like, I don't understand how it's just okay to be casually racist against Italian people.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, what? And he does the Mario voice. And he's like, I'm not afraid. I'm not worried about getting canceled. Nobody's going to do anything to me. And he's doing the pinched fingers for the entire interview. It's me. How is this okay?
There are 2 Family Guy episodes that are on primetime television that the entire episode is making fun of Italian people. 2 whole episodes. Yeah, it's real. There's 2. There's another group that you can make fun of, and it doesn't seem like it makes any sense. And it's bald men. You can just fucking rail on bald guys, and no one gives a fuck. It's really weird. You can't make up some. If you make up some.
Interesting.
It's a really strange.
So I think that's been true for a really long time, but I think now they're getting some momentum.
Really?
Some pushback. Specifically because it's technically body shaming.
Yes.
Right? Because he can't control it.
It'd be like making fun of a hair lip or a lip.
Because you're not making fun of skinheads, right? That's a group of people that chose the lifestyle.
Somebody who you're male pattern
balding people. Yeah, exactly. And so, I think I've heard dude, you're fucking bald, and people get upset about it.
Yeah.
It's dude, what are you doing? But it's Germans and Italians. I've never heard anyone, and admittedly, I think and this is why the Germans earned it.
Yeah.
Well, you're probably not wrong, but also there's plenty of innocent people in this situation.
Yeah, that is true.
I've never heard you could say almost anything to an Italian or a German person. I can't even imagine them doing anything about it.
Yeah. I think I can imagine some Italian people wanting to do something about it, but
I mean, I can imagine them getting upset, but no one is going to defend them.
You're right.
It's just weird.
You have immunity from the zeitgeist.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to come after you.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the exception is the mafia, right? But
that's
not. You're not making fun of Italian people. You're making fun of the mob,
and you don't make fun of criminals to their face. That's
just a rule.
It's just dumb.
I belong in here. What's he gonna do? Stab me?
Yeah,
man who was stabbed.
Yeah. Okay, so are we just going to do top 3 and that's it?
You won. You get to pick.
Oh, well, we're doing rock bands because I'm excited to finally get to do rock bands.
Okay.
Last
I'm going
time-
to get some serious hate on this one.
Last time we did, yeah, we are. We're going to get railed.
Oh, no. Me specifically.
Oh, okay.
Well, because you're going to pick, like, The Doors and Rush and something dumb.
Okay, I knew you were going to say this. I knew you were going to say this.
His list.
I knew you were going to say. I was going to be mad if you picked The Doors. I have an intense, fiery hatred for The Doors.
I was just joking. I hate The Doors.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just assuming you were going to pick something lame.
No, I hate. Like, I have a hate reserved for The Doors that's unreasonable, and I've never ever liked them. And I remember as a young man listening to their music and mixed in with other music on stations and radio.
Yeah. I know I've heard The Doors and known it was The Doors, but I can't tell you a single song. Like
I feel like I know them all, and I have never heard worse lyrics to a song than any Doors song. Like, there are Mickey Mouse Clubhouse songs that are more lyrical than Doors songs, and I think maybe somebody can tell me how they were important.
We got to clarify this real quick. All right, so we're going with rock and roll bands.
Yeah,
classic rock, modern rock, like just anything that can be lumped into the pile.
I considered doing this. Like,
I mean, are we including metal? Are we including like classic?
Is metal?
Like, here's a question: is Disturbed considered rock?
I would probably not. Is metal?
Okay. Now, is Van Halen considered rock?
Yes.
Okay, so yes, classic rock. Should we just say classic rock just to make it less?
Yeah,
messy?
probably classic rock.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's go ahead and say it that. Classic rock.
Okay, and then secondly, are we choosing our personal favorite bands or bands that we think have like the strongest catalog?
Oh, I think it's I think it could be both. But I think we should do this like we always do in Mojoverse, which is ones that we wouldn't miss. Like if somebody asked us, "What do you listen to?" we would say this. This is what you listen to. Don't miss this. And maybe it's because we think it's really strong, or just because we like it. But
classic rock is interesting because so much classic rock I listen to individual songs and not an entire band. Like very rarely will I just turn on a band and say like boom.
I am specifically picking the bands that I have done that for, that I have gone past that and gone, I want to hear their catalog, and I appreciated it. Like, I really enjoyed it. So those are the ones I'm picking.
I'm going to look up the definition of classic rock.
Oh, that's going to be...
I know, right? So the technical genre is music that includes songs from the mid-1960s until the mid-1990s. Mm-hmm. Is that correct to you?
Yeah.
Because technically those songs are 35 years old.
Yes, mid-1960s to mid-1990s. That would be good. That so covers...
as long as the band's debut album was pre-90, basically.
Yeah. And you know why? You know why they consider that? It's actually pretty interesting. I was actually listening to Music Theorists the other day that it is a lot of music theorists' opinion that music stopped evolving in the year 2000. That everything post 2000 is just iterations on themes pre 2000. Like original music worthy of being called art, but not breaking like molds that were all set up pre 2000. So I think saying it has to be before the year 2000, I think is a perfectly reasonable request. I think,
but within that, anything that's like, because there's stuff in.
I know, for example, there are some bands that are still together that are still practicing after the year 2000, but they made their hits. They made their music before that. Like U2, I would say U2 is a classic rock, even though they made songs after the year 2000.
Yeah, and they're also absolutely terrible.
I would never pick them, but I'm just saying, for example.
Because your wife likes them, right?
No, my wife is...
Oh.
My
wife likes you too. I just thought for some reason it was you. Wait, we had talked about this. You're like, oh no, my wife likes you too. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And he's
my
like, yeah,
wife
thanks.
is a huge, like, she's a huge project, a product of like the 90s. Mm-hmm. Like her favorite bands are all like straight up 90s.
All right. Well, I'm going to try and not pick. I'm going to be very specifically trying to pick the most classic rock bands. as opposed to going, this is my favorite band that technically fits within this shoe. It's
I have one.
There's a lot that I listen to that fit there, but they're not really classic rock.
Okay. Well, I have one that I feel like if you don't say it, I'm going to be a little upset.
I'm sure
We'll
that
see.
we have the same number one. I'd actually be surprised
really?
if we don't.
The same
But I
number
guess
one?
It depends on how you weight it. It's definitely number one for me.
I was just saying for you, I would pick this, but I wouldn't.
Okay, so that's interesting. Are they obviously classic rock and they're not another genre?
No, this one is one of those that kind of straddles over.
Okay, so I'm going to intentionally not pick stuff that's questionable.
Okay.
And so that's why it probably won't make the list.
Got it.
But yeah, if we're thinking of the same one, I think we are. I definitely want to pick it, but I don't think it really fits in classic rock, and so I don't think it'd be a proper list.
Sure.
And this is like when we first started Mojo, and I said it's like we need to pick, like for example, if you said, all right, well I want to choose sci-fi movies, I wouldn't actually say that Aliens, the sequel, is a sci-fi movie.
Mhm.
And everyone immediately goes, you're wrong. And I go, well, it's really an action movie with a sci-fi setting. And the fact that it is a sci-fi movie is irrelevant to everything about the movie. It's like Terminator 2 is not a sci-fi movie. It's an action movie. The entire point is to put bullets on screen and have cool effects. It has nothing to do with the science of what's going on in the background. They do not give a shit.
Right. It might as well be magic.
And both Terminator and Alien is a little less that. It's more like both of them are a little bit more horror movie and a lot more sci-fi than the sequels were.
Mhm.
And that was kind of that 80s, 90s transition where we want more of the action. We want to go bigger, bigger, bigger. So I would stuff like that. I would okay, you can't have, one of those movies that is you kind of got to pick what is it the most. And that's why we had so much disagreement early on with the Mojo lists.
Ooh, I have a band that has to make on my modern rock bands, but technically they started before 2000, but I'm not going to put them on. Oh, there we go. So here we go. I had one too.
Yeah, there's so many that I like. There's 3 songs in their catalog that I just absolutely fucking love. And then, but then I don't listen to anything else they do.
I'm picking my 3 bands on the very top are ones I've listened to almost their whole catalog. I'm sure somebody can tell me that in 1965 they made an EP that I never heard or whatever. That's possible. And I've got a couple alternates that kind of like you said. I know a lot of their top 12 songs, but I don't think I've listened to the whole album.
I only have 3 on my list right now.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh boy. Ooh, I'm gonna get hate for this one. Oof, I'm gonna have to defend that to people. Ugh.
Our single artists, we were doing bands. I'm not doing artists.
Well, Jimi Hendrix band counts.
Oh, you think? Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Because he's a band. There's a band playing. He's not like if you want to say Bob Dylan doesn't count because it's one dude, sure, I guess, but I would not argue that.
Okay. Oh, I have to put this. I actually know they're almost their entire. I think I have to put this. I might have to say that just because. Yeah.
See, the way I'm viewing this is when somebody runs up to you with a microphone and yells classic rock at you, what song pops in your head? Mm-hmm. That's how I'm viewing this.
Yeah, this is hard to do because there's so many strong ones. It's really hard to pick, but you just kind of got to go for it.
I'm the opposite, man. It's hard to pick bands that I would put in that category. There's a ton in my B's to B+. There's very few bands that make it to my A list.
Okay.
Because it's one-hit wonders and stuff. You could go in here and pick Styx because they have 2 of the most famous songs from the time period.
Yeah, but I wouldn't.
But nobody's favorite band is Styx unless you grew up in the 70s. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, I would disagree with Styx for myself. Maybe there is something else.
I literally swear to God, if you pick this band I'm thinking of right now, I am disconnecting you from the Discord call.
Oh, God. Okay.
I don't think you will, but if you do, just be warned. If you get cut off, there was a reason, and the podcast is burned. We're just not going to release it.
Okay.
I'll give you a hint. They came out in 1970.
Now I got to look at my list here to see when they came out.
There's also so many bands I know I could just say and get votes. And I'm yeah, but that's not mine.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to pick those.
Well, I have one that came out in 1970. I don't know if they'll make my top 3, though. They're an alternate. I don't think you would hate me for picking this band, though. I don't know how you could.
Oh,
But some people really like.
the one I'm thinking is definitely not alternate.
Okay, because
in fact, I'm probably just added that one to my list.
But some people love the Doors, and I can't fucking stand them.
I have to put this band on my list just because of the band. It's so weird because, like, I'm not going to get into it. We'll talk about it later. All right, so you can keep picking stuff if you want, but I'm good.
I'm good to go. Yeah.
I have 6, so we're good. So that Marvel Rivals, huh?
Man, love Marvel Rivals.
It's good to see that a company can finally make a good Marvel game.
Yeah, that's true.
But in all seriousness, it's actually been pretty fun, and I am enjoying it more than I enjoyed Overwatch, probably, but I am playing it less than I played Overwatch, just because I don't have that much free time. Like, I've exclusively played with you, basically, Parker. And we've played a lot. I'm surprised I've gotten this much time in on it, honestly. I'm, like, way over budget for video game time.
I have honestly just been diving into it hard because I can't play Path of Exile until my computer gets fixed. But I did find out what was wrong with my computer, though.
What's wrong with your computer?
It's getting too hot, and once the GPU reaches 80 degrees, it has a safety feature where it just pops
it doesn't
up.
like that.
And so,
have you considered turning on your fans?
I have 4 fans in this thing, and I bought this computer pre-made, and everything on it is really, I would say like A-, not like the best ever, but clearly one of the things that they skimped on. And my tech guy who helps me, he helped my wife decide to buy this model because she was like, I want to make sure he could have something that he could use. He's like, buy this one. It's a really good deal, and it has everything you could use. However, he said, if there is one thing these pre-builts skip on, it's commonly the fans.
Yeah, they buy the cheapest fans. It's like when you buy a new house, you basically have to upgrade the shower heads because they put 50-cent shower heads in your fucking, $300,000 fucking house.
Precisely.
And
like,
so
that is exactly what they did to this.
Yeah, because they expect you to replace it anyway, but the cooling, obviously, you wouldn't. I found out the whole time I've had this new computer, which I built this at the old house, so this was at least 4 years ago, probably older than that. I've had this computer basically ever since we've had. Let me think. Basically, since Aaron's been on the podcast, I've had this computer, and I've never had really an issue with cooling or anything. And I just found out the fans weren't working at all. Basically, like the fan controller in here was just scuffed because I have reused everything. Everything's Frankenstein together, and they were just sitting in like gear 1 the whole time and not working. And also like 2 of them were installed upside down. And so they were pushing air in and there was no like push out air. And so it was just trapping all of the air inside. And that's when I upgraded my CPU. I started running into heat issues. And so I was like, what the fuck? And then I went and checked. I was like, oh, none of these fans download a fan controller. I'm like, these fans are all at like 5% power. Like, what the fuck? And they just weren't, they were just set to idle. Like, great. But yeah, so ever since then, it's been fine.
Yeah, I am very excited to get my same friend is getting me some upgraded ones, so I'll be able to play it probably next week. He's going to help me install it.
We use air quotes here for the people at home. I fixed my case LEDs because my case has a whole bunch of color changing LEDs in it.
Yeah.
And so I fixed it, which is I pressed the on button for the LEDs.
You did it.
In my defense, it stopped working when I moved, and so I just assumed it got dropped and something broke in it, and just the LEDs didn't work anymore. But there's a little pin switch, like a little like paperclip pin switch, that apparently at some point got pressed while we moved. And so I was just fucking around doing some upgrades. I'm like, what does this do? Is this the hard reset? So I pressed it trying to reset the computer, and it just turned on the LEDs. I'm like, God damn it. I was so annoyed. I spent hours trying to get them to work one day. I was like, fuck. All right, who's your favorite character in Marvel Rivals? Go.
Moon Knight.
Pick now. Go. Moon Knight.
I am a giant fan of Moon Knight. I feel like he is entertaining to me because I do not like doing characters that have a lot of things that are working simultaneously, and he is more point and click, which is nice. But the other thing he does is he rewards learning about opponents' behavior. That's one of my favorite things, because he's all about placing the Ankh in strategic locations. So I really enjoy playing maps and learning where the maps are and what people like to do with the terrain and maps and environment, and then putting the Ankhs in advantageous places based upon what I have noticed people tend to do. And so
he's a really good flanking, like, skirmish character where you want to, like, I'm going to sneak around the side, set up, and then just blitz somebody down really quick and then move. Almost like a sniper, but he doesn't do it like a sniper does it.
Right. Yes.
And he can fight if people get on him. Like, he's a good, like, close range character as well.
Yeah. I find that he definitely has some weaknesses. Like, they built in some things, like you just can't deal with flyers at all. Anybody who's like a hit scan character, if I don't get the drop on them, I can lose, like, really fast. But if, like you said, if I'm not obvious, or if I'm also playing with a group, because commonly if I'm getting healed actively, then I just keep, firing through it. But I also like that even though he can burst down squishy characters, I'm perfectly fine, like, throwing into tanks that are being supported by supports, because they'll start taking too much damage across their whole list. Because the point is, like, the idea of a tank is you're just taking all the damage, but he specifically spreads his damage, so it works. I like how versatile he is, but like I said,
really
without having a lot of cooldowns to manage. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm really anticipating them nerfing Iron Fist. Like, I'm really excited for that. Fucking piece of shit character.
Yeah.
I fucking hate Iron Fist so much. I play Punisher the most, but that's mostly because I'm trying to force myself out of my comfort zone, which is basically playing, like, supports. And I think Jeff is probably the character I enjoy playing the most, but I'm trying to actively avoid playing him. And then Adam Warlock's also been really fun. And then Rocket is also fun. Rocket's just so fucking squishy that, and he just wants to stay out of line of sight, that I really struggle to keep him alive on, like, mobile maps where everyone's moving around a lot. It's really hard for me to stay in good spots.
Yeah.
Like the payload missions, I always just get myself caught out at some point because I don't know the maps that well.
Yeah, I've definitely reached, like, a number of hours. I think I'm, like, into hour, like, 30-ish now. And now I can't walk backwards.
Way more than 30 hours.
What's that?
You've played way more than 30 hours.
That's likely, yeah, that's possible. I was
looking
at
closer to 100.
I was looking. No, it's not 100, because I was just looking at it today, and my Moon Knight hours were like 11, and then my next highest was Iron Man, who was at like 4.
Pull up Steam real quick. I've played 26.1.
I don't have it on Steam. It's on my Xbox. No, it's like time.
That. I'm going to challenge you on that one.
Not time the app has been running. Maybe that's high, but
man, I don't know. I think you played like 3 or 4 times as much as me. I mean, we've only played together like 3 times, and I have 26 hours. I only play with you.
At any rate, I think
he's moving past it.
At any rate, I feel like I have. I don't have the ability to walk backwards through maps now, but I have a really clear idea of what's, where they are, where they're spawning, where they're walking. But again, part of that's like the fun of playing Moon Knight also, because you're trying to actively think of that.
I think I need to play a little bit of Psylocke and a little bit of Iron Fist just to get used to, like, playing those roles. I like to at least be comfortable in every class. That way, if you have to fill, you can. So I feel comfortable with both Warlock and Jeff and even Rocket. And I feel comfortable with Punisher and Magneto. And then out of that, I need like a second damage dealer that's not Punisher. And I haven't really learned anybody. Although Iron Man seems pretty easy as long as you can stay alive.
It's also fun to play some of these other characters, because when you do get stopped, you understand, like, oh, that's what's supposed to do this. Like, I get it.
Like, you mean like the meta circle stuff? Where it's like, oh, my Punisher's getting wrecked by like Psylocke or Iron Fist. Like, and then so it's like, problem I have is I just don't know what beats Iron Fist, and I don't think that's why I get so annoyed with him. Like, what are we supposed to do about this? Like, he just 3v1'd us and left easily. Like, he wasn't even in danger of dying once.
Right. Yeah, I'm really liking Marvel Rivals. I'm also finding that one of my favorite things to do in a game like this that's entirely just multiplayer is get into the tournament scene. And not I have never been excited to really play it myself because it requires an amount of time I do not have. But watching tournaments, I really enjoy watching esports.
I really love watching like high level league play.
Yeah,
it's really fun.
It is.
Although I feel like now that I don't know any of the players, I don't have a dog in the race, and so it feels weird.
That's true.
Like even like the new people that I remember last time I watched are like all retired now. Like, well, fuck.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I mean, I remember it was like an event the first like time they had like the world champs and stuff. Like watching like CLGEU play, and it was an event. Like we scheduled that Saturday to watch the game. It was super cool.
That was, I remember, League of Legends and the whole growth of that. Now, I've heard, because I haven't been in it at all, like most things, it's become such a money game that the game company itself is really building everything about the professional league to, draw in that. And the whole game has kind of been subsumed by this. And some people don't appreciate it. I do not know if that's true. I think they're probably always interested in making money as well as making
League of Legends has the huge advantage of it's the most fun game to watch because there's always something going on, and the team fights are so like interesting, and like you could go back and like replay it like 5 or 6 times, and like you're still seeing stuff you missed the first time around. It's just so fast and brutal. And like while you're watching it, the individual laning parts, which is normally boring, like you're seeing like how the upper skilled people play and like how they deal with different matchups, and you're watching counters and like ganks and stuff. So like you're kind of learning the game while you watch it, and it's interesting while you watch it.
The thing that stops me from ever doing League, other than just like having some fun.
Oh, you mean like playing it yourself?
Yeah.
That's awful.
Yeah, it's just so.
Just cancer.
It's just such cancer.
Inject that shit straight in my veins. Congrats, you have cancer. Oh shit. Yeah, no. Playing League is, man, it's so rough. It's much like trying to play Magic, in my opinion. Like, it's just the arms race of, well, we're just going to play for fun against bots. And it's like, we'll play some regular games. Mm-hmm. And then you play enough regular games. Man, we keep getting these AFKers. Let's play ranked just so we don't play AFKers. And then like, well, we're actually doing okay. Let's like actually try at this. And then like now, next thing you know, you're like getting mad at each other because, you fucking missed something. And you're like, oh, God damn it. And you're just playing with the most toxic people ever the whole time too. Like, oh, look, I ganked for my buddy in mid instead of top, so he's going to AFK in the fountain. Like, oh, cool. I'm glad we get to play this game for 20 minutes. Yeah.
It's also every single thing, every interaction. I never had a positive interaction with somebody in that game, other than the people I was brought myself. Like it's difficult.
It's I've been messaging somebody online, and they hit me with a typo, and it was like, okay, well, fuck you, I guess. It's how funny like accidentally hitting question mark versus exclamation point will change a statement.
Yeah.
It's like, I was like, Happy New Year's to this person, and they're like, oh, Happy New Year's too? Like, question mark? And I'm like, well, fuck you, I guess. Like, and then they're like, oh, sorry, like, exclamation points. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Happy New Year's too?
Too? It's like, who the fuck are you? I was like, hey, we've been talking. That reminds me, did you ever see Get Him to the Greek?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, there's the like drug dealer guy who always sends smiley face at the end of his text messages, and you're like, I don't know if he's mad. And you're like, I'm gonna fucking kill you, smiley face. And you're like, is this a joke? No, he's coming to kill you. It's like, why do you say smiley face? It's like, he just does it, man. Like, he shows up with a gun. You're like, oh shit.
I think we gotta get going here. I'm gonna start fading. It's late.
Yeah, we'll probably do a fairly short episode today. We'll see how it goes.
Okay.
I was just trying to get through our rambles. All right, let me get a timestamp and we'll get moving.
Oh, don't we have to do Mojoverse?
Sure. Do you want to do Mojoverse now? We can do it now.
Let's do it.
No, I was going to do it later. You can do it now. I mean, it's your fucking show. We do whatever you want to. Fuck you, I guess. I'm Ron Burgundy?
I'm Ron Burgundy. Go fuck yourself, San Diego.
God damn it. All right, so I get to go first. I'm very happy that I get to go first because if I didn't get this band, I would have been very upset.
Okay.
because I was like, how the fuck? Like, this is my band. You get the fuck off of it.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So this week on Mojoverse, I don't know if we actually said it out loud, but
We did.
I think I think we started recording after. We're gonna do classic rock bands. Oh boy, get out the knives. Let's do this.
Yeah, let's piss
All right.
a lot of people off real fast.
Your obvious winner this week gets to go first, and that's going to be me because I'm going to first pick the Akadaka.
Okay.
Are you surprised by this?
No, I'm not surprised. I'm really glad that you picked it. I think it makes sense.
Yeah, it gets it off the board so you can pick something you like instead of trying to fucking hate draft me. You fucking took like 3 of my anime fights last week.
I would not. You're right. I did smoke that. Yeah.
Yeah, you took specifically the ones I was planning on picking. You fucking dickwad. All right, what you got?
I get 2, right?
Heat. Yeah, you get 2.
Okay.
And then I get 2, then you get the last one.
I'm going to go with Led Zeppelin.
Okay, that was not on my list.
Huge fan. Really?
Trash band.
Really?
So I have a very specific, and I'm going to get roasted. Luckily, the only way they'll know I said that is if they're listening to the episode.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a very specific reason is I had that one guy who would never drop it.
Yeah.
And I fucking hated that guy. He was super annoying despite it. But we had a lot of the same hobbies. We both played 40K. We both played City Heroes. We both listened to classic rock. And he would just, oh my god, and just never fucking stop talking about it. And so I just refused to listen to Led Zeppelin for like 15 years.
Yeah.
And I do appreciate their music, but it wouldn't have been because of that, it wouldn't have been on my list.
Yeah, it's really strange that happens.
It's so rough. There's like, my parents liked it too much, and so I can't listen to it. Sure.
My wife cannot watch The Fifth Element. And it's one of my favorite movies ever. Like, she can't watch it because she had an ex-boyfriend that was his favorite movie ever, and he wouldn't stop talking about it. And so she just like, it's not that I hate my ex-boyfriend or something. It's just that I can't do it now. He ruined it. Yeah. My second choice is really hard, but I got to go with the band that plays my favorite song ever, the Rolling Stones.
Good pick. Again, not on my list. However, I very much respect the pick. It's just something I didn't have exposure to, much like the Beatles. I never listened to them growing up because I was never exposed to them younger. And then by the time I was not ready to hear them when I heard them, and I think I would enjoy the Beatles now. And I don't think I was ready to hear them when I got exposed to it in like my 20s.
Yeah.
All right. So somehow we got to my final pick, and 5 of my 6 are still available. All right.
Nice.
This is cool. Whew, this is going to be rough. Do you want to do 6 again?
Well, so far we're not crossing over each other. That would have been...
Yeah, I know, right? And I thought I thought AC/DC was the only one that might be close. Okay, so I'm going to go with... Ooh, man, this is really like fucking shooting your kids in the face.
It is really hard.
I can't pick both of these bands because I have to pick a different one, don't I? I guess I could not. Man, I really want to pick 6 now. All right, we'll just have good honorable mentions. This would have been much better with Jeremy here because there would have actually been some competition.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do Def Leppard.
Okay.
I just can't not pick Rock of Ages as like a band.
Sure.
And then I'll do Lynyrd Skynyrd. And I would very much like to pick 2 more. All right. That's my 3.
We could have done this, I think, 6. I think we could have done it.
Well, let's do it. Let's just keep going and see how it goes.
Okay.
All right, so go and do 2 more.
You want to do 6 or you want to do like 3 and 3?
Oh yeah, let's do 3. So you do the one and then you go first on the next one. So it'll be the same. You have to pick what goes with the first group.
Okay.
It does matter with the way voting works.
I'm going to go with this band. I'm going to make this like my top and make the next one like my second grouping.
Your dregs, garbage bands you kind of listen to.
No, I love them all, but I'm going to go with the last one is Queen.
Yeah, that was on my list.
Queen.
That's why I was agonizing. I was like, man, how do I not put Queen on here?
Yeah.
Oh. All right. So that's the first set of 3 we got. Now let's move into the next one. You have first pick in the second batch.
Okay. My first pick in the second batch, these are going to be kind of, I don't want to call them indie bands, but they're definitely like off kilter. I'm going to go with, this one is not. Actually, I'm going to take everything I just said in the past 5 seconds. I take it back immediately. This is a mainstream band. I'm going to go with The Who. I love The Who.
So, yeah, the Who's one, man, I'm surprised you picked that. They do have a lot of good songs. It's not a bad pick. I'm just surprised that I've never heard you listen to The Who.
That's a really interesting thing you say that, because they're not one I pick off the shelf very often, but every time they come into my like field of vision, I'm like, oh my
Their
god,
hits
that
are
band is
hits,
fucking amazing.
right? Yeah.
Like, the band is so good.
All right, so me up next. I'm going to do kind of grunge. Well, not grunge, but like the more attitude version of classic rock. So I'm going to go back to back Motley Crue.
Okay.
And Guns N' Roses.
Okay.
I know a lot of people hate Guns N' Roses, but you cannot show somebody 80s rock without Guns N' Roses. Like, they dominated that decade.
Yeah.
And Axl Rose is a total dickhead, but like, doesn't change the fact they made some good songs.
Let's
like Appetite for Destruction, you can listen to the entire album, and you're like, yeah, these are all great.
Yeah. That's it has one of my favorite lines. They have one of my favorite lines of any music interview ever, which is, what do you say to your critics? They say you've only written the one song. Like, well, it's a great fucking song.
That's AC/DC, I think.
Oh, was that your? I thought I was.
Yeah, that's the lead singer of AC/DC.
Oh, that's AC/DC. Mm-hmm. Okay, I had it wrong.
Because he sits down for an interview, and the guy, it's very clearly an ambush interview because it's supposed to be like a favor to somebody, and he's like, oh yeah,
that's right. It was like, AC/DC.
What does it feel like to only have written one song your entire career? And he shoves the microphone in his face. It's like the guy takes off his glasses and gives him that "I will beat the fuck out of you, little boy," and he goes, "Yeah, but it's a really good fucking song." And then just sits back and puts his glasses back on, and you're like, well, fine, I guess, fuck off. Okay,
so I get two more, right?
Yeah, that's you.
I'm going to go with this. This isn't super important to my childhood. This was the first classic rock band that I ever listened to for real, and I listened to almost all their songs. And Creedence Clearwater Revival, CCR.
I was really thinking about putting them as my sixth.
I love CCR, but
they're always fun to listen to. Yeah, they're very mellow, but they have such a great melody.
There's a problem with them though for me now. Is I listened to them so much as a kid, like just on loop, that I actually kind of wore it out. I don't reach for them ever anymore, but man, some of those songs are amazing songs. Yeah.
All right. Well, this is still better than.
Oh wait, do I get one more? Did I say CCR?
No, you're good. You got CCR.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you got one more.
Okay. So for my last one, I cannot believe. Oh, this is so hard. Do I go with the one that I think was the most important? No, I'm going to go with the one I like the most. I'm going to go with the Strokes.
The Strokes.
There's a band that... Nope, I take it back. I'm taking it back. I want to go Talking Heads.
Okay.
Because I love Talking Heads, and I love what they are. Like, I love what they represent. I love it.
All right. Man, there's so many that have like two really good songs, but not a lot that it's hard to separate at this point. There's like a lot of them like right together. Man. I think I'm gonna go with Journey.
Interesting. I would not have picked.
I'm not a huge fan of Journey, but I do like a lot of their songs, and now that the list is over, let's just move directly into honorable mentions. I wanted to pick Bob Seger.
Oh,
because
okay.
He has like 3 songs I could listen to literally on loop all day. But I don't listen to the rest of his catalog, and so it's really just like those 3 fucking great songs. And like Journey, I can listen to their collection much easier. And so if I'm like, okay, if I'm going to Spotify and clicking a band and hit shuffle, it's not going to be Bob Seger. It's going to be Journey if I had to pick. Mm-hmm. And so that's what leaned me. There's a bunch of other good bands. Like I almost wanted to say Scorpions just because like they're very much more my style. Yeah. But again, they only have like 3 good songs. So
right. I'm sorry. I'm just a total brain fart. I had one in here that I had to take off because there were. This one technically fell in our rule of pre-2000s, but I don't think I can pick them because I feel like they're too they're too new age, because I would never call them classic rock. Maybe they are
Mhm.
now. Is the White Stripes?
Oh yeah, they're definitely not
Yeah.
classic. I mean, they may have released a '90s album that's making classic rock,
Right.
Like Bowling for Soup, like you could basically classic rock at that point. Then,
Yeah.
I agree with your selection there, and like I want to pick like Metallica and stuff, but like I wouldn't consider them classic rock either. The get forever vetoed from the podcast is Aerosmith, by the way.
Oh,
Fuck
I would never pick Aerosmith.
Yeah, exactly. They're bad.
I don't hate them like I hate the Doors. Like I
hate them. I hate them.
I will actively run screaming from someone trying to play the Doors. I hate it so much.
There's 2 songs from Aerosmith that are acceptable to play. That's it, and the rest of their catalog is just fucking garbage.
I'm actually going to go ahead and say that I feel towards Aerosmith like Aaron feels towards the entire rock genre, which is gun to my head, I couldn't name an Aerosmith song. I know.
Take a second.
I think there was one that they did for
the one is infinitely
they did the one for the Armageddon movie, right? Was that
sure? That's one of the like 3 songs they have.
Yeah. So like I remember that one was really important, but it
was just a good song, right? I think they won an award for that one, but it was a good song. But again, that was like after they were basically retired anyway. Like
right. So that's what I'm saying. That's
the
how
one that everybody knows is "Dream On."
Ah, okay.
And you would have got it if you just got it at the right moment,
sure.
Right? Like you would have connected eventually.
But
the one that's okay is "Back in the Saddle" is fine, but
yeah, it's okay. But that's the thing is, I don't think about them. I don't like, and I know some people love it.
I like same thing with Kiss. Like some people just fucking love Kiss. I don't get it. Like I don't hate them. I don't like their music. I don't understand why other people do.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Kiss is fine.
Yeah, it's like if you're playing Kiss, I probably won't complain, but I'm not going to enjoy it either.
You know one that I would put on here, and here's one kind of like in that same genre of like people who love it just love it, and I happen to be one of those people that never encountered it until one day I had a friend who just loved it and played a bunch, and I was like, this is really fun. I would almost put it on my list, is Meatloaf.
Yeah, that's like a Tenacious D. Like it's like a joke thing, but it's worth it. It's good.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like you're exactly right. It does sound like they were kidding the whole time, like it was a bit, like it was a big joke.
Well, his whole thing's a joke. Yeah, it's like he's making fun of himself doing it.
Yeah,
I just had a great idea. We should publish like every so often we should do one of these where it's like the Infamous's like one hit wonders track. And we basically just do like an awesome playlist, but it's just us. Every one of us picks 3 songs to add to the vault, and we just make a Spotify playlist and link it in the show notes, and people can go listen to our crazy mix of 12 songs.
I like
that could be really fun.
Yeah,
because there's so many I think Awesome Playlist is a perfect example. Like Blue Suede and like all those songs that like nobody remembers, right? And then it's like the Madonna song from Deadpool and Wolverine. It's like that song is literally fucking everywhere now. It's in every video online. It's everywhere, and everyone forgot about it. Like it was like, oh yeah, that's a song. Like Blues Traveler. Like, oh, I forgot that was a fucking thing, and then everybody listens to it for a week.
Right.
So I think it'd be really fun to like, what are your like deep cut favorite songs that like people don't remember? And you're like, I think that could be really fun.
There's also a couple people that I love their one hit wonders so much I want to listen to more of their stuff.
Yeah.
One of my favorites.
And then I go to do it and I'm like, these guys are terrible.
Here's one. You're like, you want to talk about like a weird guy out there? Warren Zevon. And you're like, Warren Zevon. Well, he did Werewolves of London.
Yeah.
I love that song. That's
because I've seen the album cover because I play that at the store.
I love that song so much. It's one of my favorite classic rock songs ever. I think it's just perfect. And I've never heard him do anything else. Maybe that was his one hit. I'm guessing it was.
Mm-hmm. Then there's the I can't remember the guy's name, but it's the Levee Was Dry song. That's like a huge one hit classic rock.
American Pie. Yeah.
Fuck Spirit in the Sky. Name another song that band did. Name the band, rather.
Yeah.
Like, nobody knows fucking who did that. That song is fucking everywhere in classic rock playlists.
Mm-hmm.
because I make our playlist for our store, because we play Spotify usually when the store is open.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have like some pretty non-offensive playlists that are like 4 or 5, 6 hours long or something. So I'm putting those together. And it's mostly through like, I'll put in like 12 songs that I think fit the theme. And then there's like a suggestive ad feature.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like clicking songs off that. And that song is always suggested. If it's any kind of playlist that involves rock music, that's in the first page of suggestions. Because it's like, everyone likes this song. You're like, okay. Okay. Are you ready to get started?
Yeah.
All right. Here we go.